Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 11. I'm in a new location, which is the same as a previous old location, and I'm glad to be here. I'm here to support Seraph during some trying times, and I'm glad to be back for Vinland Saga. Our last episode was not quite as insane as our climb and fall episodes, but one of our characters is becoming just as insane, and that is Canute, who has begun to see the floating, disembodied, severed head of his father, King Sweyn, one of the worst characters in the show, worst morally, ethically, and seeing him as a mocking, heckling voice alongside Canute's pursuit of power, calling him out as his conscience, even, for the things that Canute knows he's doing. We discovered in the last episode, at least it is heavily implied, that Canute poisoned his brother in pursuit of power. But he would phrase it a little bit differently. He would say that he did what he had to do and removed an obstacle to world peace. And with stakes like that, can't anything be justified? With a pathway that leads to heaven for all, can't any action, any destruction, any killing, any death, any horror be justified? Our answer from Canute seems to be yes. Our answer in the pit, on the other side of our story, is no, not ever. You can't save anyone that way. So, we've put our characters at opposite extremes. Again, and I mentioned this in the last episode, that it finally feels like it clicks to me. Finally, I seem to understand what we seem to be maybe doing here. How we have Canute living without violence and discovering it as a way to achieve his nominally non-violent goals. And Thorfinn, a boy forced into a life of violence, discovering a pathway to the future built out of nonviolence and peace. A way of being that is victory in and of itself. I love it. I fucking love it. I love it. Against the backdrop of dramatic historical changes and a war-torn world that our characters are steeped in, that everyone is steeped in. We tell these individual journeys that shoot like rockets up through the strata of society, or drop like a stone straight through those same layers. I think it's so cool. I think it's so cool how we've bridged this gap between the mystical and the psychological. How we're able to speak to religious level themes, ideology level ideas, and do them in a context that makes them as supernatural as they deserve. As absurd and insane as those grand stories should be. As kind of we need as humans to dive into our spirituality, to dive into understanding of ideas that we can't really see, we can't really grab onto, can't really grasp. We need metaphor. We need analogy. And one of the magic things about this medium is that we can present metaphor as true and real. We don't have to say, Canute imagines a floating head. We just show a floating head, and it's as real as it could be to us and to Canute, and so we're locked into it. We don't have to say, imagine there's a hell. Imagine that when you do violence, you go to this place. We just show it to us. We show our character drop there as though it's real. You show the earth open up and swallow him as though it's real. And so we can present things to our subconscious directly. We can present things to our dream self directly. And we don't have to worry about this fickle layer of words that we use to describe things back and forth to each other that we've been so limited by. We can use art, and that art feels real. I think it's stunning. I think I'm just kind of in awe of the last couple episodes of Vinland Saga. I'm really excited to watch more, and I'm really curious about our title, Kings and Swords. I couldn't have understood the last title. I would have guessed that it had to do with the head that wears the crown being cursed. And indeed, in some ways it does, for it is inside that head that King's Fanes is living. Kings and Swords. Violence, power, and capacity. What is a sword? And what does it mean to have one, to be able to use it? I can't help but think of the moment where we looked at, is it spherical? Spherical. It is spherical. Spherical sword. And how we sort of honed in on it. And how much it means that it's there. Canute has never been much of a swords guy. You know? He's a schemes guy. He's a thoughts guy. He was a compassion boy. He's a peace man in terms of what drives him. I wonder if what we're going to witness is our peaceful man picking up a sword. And where that takes us in the world of metaphor. Whatever comes through in this next episode of Vinland Saga, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. And for continuing to join me on this series, as it's been stuttered and scattered, and as I've been stuttering and scattered. It's quite a journey that we're on, and it's taking me a lot to incorporate it effectively, to pull it in and to listen to it, and to let myself change around it. I'm really grateful for the journey, and I'm really grateful for those of you who've decided to join me on it. Thank you. Let's watch some more. I will say I've been drawing. I drew today. I did not realize that I don't have a second camera here, so I don't have a way to camera down onto drawing, which kind of sucks, but it means that I don't have to edit the drawing portion, so maybe that's a boon. I did draw today. I've had this mannequin head sitting here. My partner's mom makes jewelry, and so that's why there's a bust and a mannequin head, and there are a couple more over there and stuff. So anyway, I scribble sketched the mannequin head, and then I put a crown on it. Boom. Meaningful. I don't know. It does actually compel me. As soon as I thought of the idea, I was like, oh, that's exactly it. It doesn't matter who's wearing the crown. The crown leads, right? You might as well be a mannequin. The face is featureless. The crown shapes the person who wears it. I like that. It feels close enough to what we're creating out of Svein's head, joining inside Canute's mind and continuing on his legacy in some way. It's like it's bound to the crown. It's like that's all one thing. I find it very cool. I find my drawing very shit, but also very compelling. And that's how I feel about a lot of my drawings. And that's why I keep drawing them, is because even if they're shit, I find something about the process and something about the result really interesting. All right. I've got episode 11 of Vinland Saga Season 2 up and ready to go. It's sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video. Picture-in-picture version will be up with the video up there. Will be linked in the description down there. And the timer-based version that you're currently watching will be up on YouTube. PiP timer to count you down and early access on the Patreon. Thank you so much to the patrons who've been supporting this as we go. I'm so excited to keep making good and new stuff for you and to bring some of the channel back to life a little bit, because we're getting there. Yeah. PiP timer. Wonder who's fighting. Oh, Heika? Whoa. Faster than I expected. He's wielding his weaponry for real. Wolf doesn't seem to be... is not pulling punches. That's very scary. So he's been training for real. And for a reason. Huh. I don't feel ravishing. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like he's pushing him right to the limit. Yeah. His king's blood. Here we have the ideal of our world. Strength rules. Capacity rules. Power is power. Go for a finisher. You're a leader on the battlefield. Now he's using psychological means. He's messing with him. Smart. So fucking smart. Huh? I won't look. I won't look. I won't look. Looks. Fucking hell. Let's go, Canute. It's very silly and I love it. Using your enemy's real weaknesses against them. Oh. Throws away the sword. But he doesn't want it. He's becoming a king! We knew that would happen. But wow. Our paths are crossing. You do, but all those options have repercussions too. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah, if you use their wealth to quarter your soldiers, that's bad. Hmm. He means taking it. He means taking it. Eminent domain, baby. This is ours now. Depends on who you take from. But whose land will you take? Force begets force. Oh. My mind goes the religious ones. That's it. But that's power too. That's the thing. There's soft power that he's neglecting in order to grab this hard power. Does that make sense? Like, the love of the people is a type of power. The kettle. Okay. How does this change things? He kinda wasn't, and then he was. Why is this a disaster for him? Oh. Might want to give that to the new king. Then that's who I give my stuff to, yeah. Okay. Oh, Olmar's here. Okay. Oh, that's right. He did go with him. He's gonna get mugged. Or fucking... That's the problem. Amazing. Tell me it's a child. No, it's a perfect... Fuck. He's got a sword on his belt, man. He's got a sword on his belt. We're going really goofy with this. Yeah, he's got a sword on his belt, man. My dude is packing a gat. He loves the big dick, right? Power. Yes. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We're doing it with the angle, too. Full Yakuza. Ooh! Because he wants to fight. Because he's deeply insecure. Oh, dads and dads. Hell yeah. Wait. 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 Is that a leaf on the wind? Have we met his son? I feel like we have, but in passing. Holy tits. Oh my god, he's looking for him. I wonder if he'll have the chance, if he'll ask. Bug eyes? What? What? He just said it out loud! Leif! Hey, this guy, what's he look like? Not anymore. Oh no, I just happened to be looking for someone. Otoroito na. Oh, that's him. He doesn't know. Dude, get your hopes up. Oh. Oh, so he just sought out a guy named Thorfinn and found this kid. He's just collecting Thorfinns. I've been searching him for him for like a decade. Fuck. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. I love his stupid bug eyes. I think they're so funny. In an anime, they're so funny. Does he have Graves' disease? Is he okay? It's him. It's him, man. Come on. Hold strong, Leif. Don't you fuck this. Don't you fuck this. God damn it. Is that really going to be the last word? He was looking at you on the list, though. I wonder if he's just going to requisition his whole fucking farm. Yeah, but there's no downside to just taking everything you have, too. Dude, his whole line of succession is walking into that house, into that room. His whole line of succession is walking into that room. Damn, good color. Okay. Okay. It's true. Okay, so that's very smart of Canute. My strength is in the land. Whoa, what are you doing, Olmar? Olmar, don't be fucking stupid, please. Yeah, you're already fucking up. Oh boy. Amazing. Amazing. You're gonna draw steel in the presence of a king? What the fuck are you doing? Quote, skills, quote unquote, with quote blade. Hurrah! Hurrah! That's a lot of wax. Okay. Okie dokie. Yes. Correct. Well, that's nice of him to not just be like, fuck no, dude. But that's really strange. I wonder why take the time, even. Don't let him have a sword. It's brutal for him. Mm-hmm. But why does he want him? Huh. Uh-huh. Is this assassinate and power pass? Kill Ketil? Just another little scar. So we're gonna shuffle power, we're gonna put it in the hands of an idiot, and then use him as our dupe. And it's just in time for the potential of Leif and Thorfinn to cross paths. And for the one time when things fall apart, for there to be somewhere for Thorfinn to fall to. A soft place to land. Maybe not, though. Without Kettle in place, everything's wrong. They're not going to be freed. They're not going to be freed. And Olmar has it out for Thorfinn like a little bit. This just got really complicated. Whoa. Wow. Next episode title. Hi. Hello. Hi. Okay. For lost love. I have no idea. How very interesting. What a sequence of events. We've got Olmar actually fighting, and then Okay. Okay, let's separate this into chonks. Chonk 1. Canute is an able-bodied soldier. He's understood the well-roundedness that's necessary, and he's understood by looking at the other leaders and rulers around him what weakness and what strength look like. He's got a really, really good sense of what his men will actually follow. And he's got this incredibly loyal, incredibly capable soldier in Wolf, who, since our reintroduction to Canute, has been there in every scene. I just want to point this out. It's like, this guy is such a right hand, and such an element of Canute's authority and power. He's the one who I expect is responsible for setting up the poisoning. Although Gunnar might have been, I expect that it was him because of the way that some of that dialogue went down in the last episode. It seems like Wolf knows everything that Canute does and is just as capable as he is. So we get this really interesting circumstance where they're fighting, and somebody else, I think Gunnar, says like, oh, for sure he's pulling back his blows, but we can't tell, and neither can anybody else. It looks like he's going really for the throat. So the question is Wolf good enough that he looks like he's going for the throat, but he wouldn't actually harm Canute? Or is the way that they're sparring to the degree where he's really swinging at Canute's feet and Canute is good enough? I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I'd really like to know what you think about it. I actually don't think there's evidence either way, or enough evidence either way. On one hand, I think it makes so much sense for them to be training for real. Canute, like, there's this, it's the kind of slightly self-destructive behavior that a man who's expressing so much power without doing it with his own hands might go for. It's like he needs to feel the danger for real to get a taste of it. But on the other hand, this is a show of power and a show of authority and a show of capacity. This is like, yeah. Oh, you know what? I guess the evidence stands because they've done this like 4 times, and it's on the 5th bout that Canute is able to actually best him. It's really cool. And it is eventually Canute's cleverness that lets him do it. His cleverness, his knowledge of his man, and his ability to manipulate him. It's speech that Canute uses to win this battle, not blade. He uses his blade and his capacity to hold out, but it's speech that he uses to actually win it. Really cool. It also sets up a romance between Estrid and Wolf, which I think is really cool, or at least a one-sided thing, you know? And then we drop from this outside space where everything is bright and well lit to this indoor space where everything is dark. And here we plan, we scheme, we plot. And we look over the numbers and decide that pragmatism is what comes to bear. Kings need money. And we find out exactly why through a piece of of this narration that I think is really great. I love using narration like this to just express to us the whole stage, really set the stage for us, and give our characters the time to act on their own, but set our stage and tell us what's really going on inside their minds. We seize England, and we're holding it with Danish soldiers, and we have to keep holding it, but we're pulling all the money out of England in order to hold it. This isn't sustainable. And neither is what he's planning to do, acquiring the farmland. Acquisition, requisition. But if he can do it cleverly, it won't matter. And this is another checkbox on the list of, like, things that tip you over the edge. It's another piece of the same mentality that we got in the last episode. It doesn't matter what bad things I do, what I steal, take, requisition, how much I undermine my authority in the small scale, or like destroy bonds or renege on trusted agreements, right? Because the greater picture is what's necessary. This is an ordeal that they will have to suffer for the peace of the future, or something like that is his last line in the episode. But it starts here. It starts here when he doesn't look for another answer. Right? He's happy to settle on an answer. He goes through a couple and he pushes them aside. He's like, that won't work because this. That won't work because this. And this one, the reason that it won't work is because it's wrong. Right? And that's not good enough. The reason that it won't work is because it's breaking a promise. It's lying. It's taking from people that you've promised you wouldn't, or that your father did, right? Or whatever the relationship was. There's something really wrong about it. It undermines the relationship between king and country. He doesn't care. Because that is a much smaller goal, a much smaller matter than the big matter. The big thing that really matters is making sure that everything stays stable enough and doesn't fall apart. So when we need more and more money, we're going to do the same thing. We'll sacrifice something in order to pay for it. And then we'll sacrifice something else in order to pay for everything. And we'll do the same thing over and over. And we'll sacrifice our ideals. We'll sacrifice our moral compass. We'll sacrifice our relationships with our men. We'll sacrifice everything until there's truly nothing left. And that's when you get a bunch of swords in your back. Or you get a nation that you've nominally invested in for its peace that is overwhelmed by war and struggle and famine and strife, because nobody can have anything because you've taken it away from them. You're no longer protecting the people because you're taking the things they need to survive. All is secondary to the primary goal. All is secondary. So, because only this army can do it, because only power can do it, I must acquire the power. And lose my freedom, right? Says our ED. I have to say that the ED continues to be like the most poignant set of lines for the show. It's so cool that they wrote this song that works so well at it. It's got an impact or a meaning for every fucking episode. So this deeply upsets Ketil's plans, and that in turn deeply upsets Thorfinn's plans, because Ketil's gonna free them when he comes home, and he might not. Olmar's an idiot. I love this scene so much because we position Olmar as a Yakuza, like, dumbass biker guy, Japanese-style street gang member, and it's exactly how he acts and has acted the entire time. And it's all bullshit. It's all a facade. He's a pathetic pussy. We all know this, right? We all know that this is a pathetic wimp of a person, and he knows it too. And that's why he acts like this, is because he knows it too. Our characters later say exactly what it is. It's like, all pride, no capacity, gonna act a lot like that, and then gonna be the first one to die. I don't want him in my team. I don't want him at all. He sucks. I love Bug Eyes, whose name is Thorfinn. And I love that we jump to combing. I think it's deeply funny. And then we cut to this angle where we're like sort of down looking up at him. as he's pointing and gesturing, and it's so classically Yankee biker, like low level Yakuza member. Not even, right? It's like wannabe. It's like you're a 17-year-old who wants to be a part of the gang, and so you act like you're already a part of the gang, but you're an idiot, and then the people who are really in power come up and smack you around like, what the fuck are you doing, kid? Please, I'm so sorry. So sorry for my idiot. I don't know how to describe the emotions of this moment when we see this bald head start walking onto screen. I don't know how to describe that emotion, because it's like we've been waiting for it for so long, and then here comes this possibility, and it's not guaranteed by any stretch, but for the first time, one of our characters who knows Thorfinn meets Leif Erikson in the flesh, and there's a chance. And golly ding darn it, it's more than a chance, because he asks him. He mentions the name, this is Thorfinn. He mentions that he has a Thorfinn too, and that lets us ask the questions. But his son won't go. So we'll see how that plays out. If this actually ends up being ships in the night, and the son refusing, Leif gives in, and we just don't go and follow up, I'm going to freak the fuck out. I'm already a little bit freaked the fuck out. But I think it's so cool that our stories collide like this. Again, in this moment of turmoil. Fascinating. So why did we get an audience so fast? Well, turns out he was actually going to send for you. You just happened to show up and offer yourself as tribute. And that's exactly how he's going to see it. I'm so glad to be here and to make these deals with you. And he goes, yes, these deals where you keep all your land and pay me a tithe. It's a good deal. I can think of a better deal, though. A better deal is I keep your land and I pay myself 100% as a tithe. How about that? I don't need you. And in fact, let me work your land harder. Let me work your slaves harder. Let me not free them and let me... Yeah. Because if you're willing to renege on one promise for the glory of the future, the peace in the future, why not the next? Yes. And he speaks so well. And the words that he says, it's so interesting to me, I think. The words that Canute says to Ketil here. All those crops produced by your farmland. I have no intention on reneging on the deals made by my father and brother. Mighty, productive farmers such as yourself are the treasures of Denmark. Continue in your work, knowing that your efforts are the cornerstone of our power. Right? Okay. All of that is 100% true, and he's saying it as a lie. If Canute wants to maintain his authority, really, then he should cherish this farmer bond that he has with this powerful farmer and recognize that what he pays in terms of what he doesn't gain from that farm, he gets back in not having to worry about it. He gets back in having it manage itself. And he should be looking to expand his farmlands in a more slow and stable way. But then the world won't reach its peace the way that he plans. That'll get in the way of everything that he needs to do, and things will fall apart too fast. So, he will do the opposite of what he has said, and he will instead erode the cornerstones of his power. He will toss away the real treasure of Denmark in order to grasp at England, in order to own it all. And it will work to some extent. God, that absolute horror that this idiot is standing up. I'll demonstrate! He fucking pulls steel. Canute gives him the option, and of course he fucks it completely up, because we know that he's a pathetic loser who is not good at this. And has never really trained a day in his life, right? Like, he's never tried a day in his life because he just expects that it will happen. This is a fragile narcissist. I guess this is actually a really good thing. This is a good thing to talk about. Why the fuck does Olmar act the way that he does? Vulnerable or fragile narcissists? Well, I guess all narcissists have a fragile center, a squishy center inside their eggshell. But at core is this deep sensitivity to rejection and slights. A feeling like if they're not put up on a pedestal by everybody and almost worshipped, then they feel really bad. Like really bad. Because they, at core, don't feel worthy. At core, Olmar feels so much less than his brother. And then less even than that, because Ketil hasn't found like a way for him to express in a valuable way. Like Ketil tries to restrain him and keep him from being like his brother, because his brother sucks. There's this need for approval, this need to maintain this self-image, and then this crushedness whenever it doesn't happen, because Olmar's internal map of the world and how he fits into it is very different from reality. And at root, I think this is the sort of frame for most core personality disorders or psychological disorders, is like something in your mental map of how you fit into the world doesn't match with reality. And so you keep going through your life trying to match up your map with reality, and the things that your map informs you to do don't give you the results you want in reality. So you go and you do them, and reality says that's not correct, and you don't get the things that you wanted, and you're unable to get rid of this, so you say reality must be wrong. And in that tension between these opposites, there's just so much energy wasted, so much energy poured into making sure that things work the way that my mental map needs them to, which means cutting off all the parts of reality that don't work that way, avoiding them, the things that don't work that way, or crushing them into submission, into being the way that they should be, you know? So you go through your life trying to fight the sunset, right? Like being like, no, the sun will never set on me. I'll force it not to. And you put all your energy into doing that, and it sets anyway. And you get pissed because you're like, no, I'm so great that the sun will shine on whenever I'm awake. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. You're not in power over that. You don't have control over that. But you could fucking try to meditate your way into having the sun stay up during the sky, in the sky all day, and it's never going to happen. And the same goes for, like, Olmar's position is like, I am a great warrior who deserves respect from everyone around me. And so I'm going to force the world into that, and I'm going to believe it so hard that it's true, and I'm going to scream with all my might, look at me, I'm such a great warrior. And everybody goes, you're a piece of shit, kid. What are you talking about? And you go, ah! I'm not a piece of shit, you're all wrong. I'm going to throw you away and go find other people who will respect me, right? Or go find people who will pretend to respect me in order to manipulate me. Because that's what the mercenaries at Ketil's farm did. Was be like, yeah, you know what, kid? That's what Fox did, right? Was be like, yeah, you know, you are a great soldier. You just need to prove it. So let's take you down that path. Let's show you what it's actually like. And now we're going to do it again. Our witless boy has made himself a perfect target for this scheme, and made his weaknesses become the weakness of his whole family. They see this and they're like, oh, we can just tell him, yeah, you're good enough, and he'll be head over heels for us. And we just keep him to the side and tell him he's all right, and then we'll use him. We'll make him dance to our tune. Poor guy. Poor Olmar. I didn't think that I would say that, but at this point, I'm coming to feel compassion for the fool. Because at core, he just wants a little bit of recognition. He can't get it anywhere, and he keeps trying in the wrong ways. And there are pieces of that I relate to really deeply. So now he's going to be used. And he will be the cornerstone removed in order to upset his father's farm. Canute reaches up and, for the first time that I've noticed, touches his scar, and he does it as he says the line about the ordeal. I'm afraid this is an ordeal they must suffer to ensure peace for all. I want to talk about the words that we use here in the translation. I know they're not exactly what's used in the Japanese, but let me listen to the Japanese really quick. I won't always catch everything, but.
万民の平和のためだ。悪いが泣いてもらおう。
悪いがない。I'm going to stick with just talking about the English translation because I don't have enough of a grapple on what the Japanese was. I'd love to hear if there are Japanese speakers in the audience, what the actual lines were, because I'm not confident in my ability to transliterate them right now. But I want to talk about these words. The core ones. Ordeal doesn't matter to me. I'm, this, is, an, they, to, for all. I don't care. Afraid. I'm afraid, in this sort of a context, says this is out of my control, right? I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go. Is not saying I'm firing you. It's saying I'm so sorry, but this thing that's out of my control is happening and I'm just delivering the news. I'm afraid, says Canute, this is out of my control, that this is an ordeal they must suffer. It's required. There's no changing it. To ensure it guarantees, and X leads to Y, and Y is necessary. So, must suffer to ensure. The suffering leads to the ensuring. Suffering founds the insurance of peace. For all. It's bigger than you. Okay. It's not my fault. It's required. It guarantees a bigger, better future. There's a causal link between what is about to happen and the great ideal, and therefore it's out of my hands. Okay, right? Here's this great ideal, peace for all. We must reach that no matter what. Everything else is secondary to that. We've established that in Canute's mind repeatedly. Everything else is secondary. So your suffering is necessary, and we can hand wave it because we don't care because it's less than peace for all. And it's not my fault. I'm afraid this is an ordeal they must suffer to ensure peace for all. This is not a decision that I've made out of a sea of other decisions, and I've chosen because it's the most advantageous for me, regardless of the destruction of others. No, this is the only choice we have, and we're not even making it as a choice. We've thrown all those other choices away. They don't lead to the goal. This is what must be done to ensure peace for all. It's the same as with Harold, right? I'm afraid my brother must die in order to produce the idyllic utopia that I've dreamed of. He must. I'm not doing it. It's part of the way that things must be. His suffering and death is secondary because this grand utopia is a bigger ideal. And his death will lead to it. What we neglect is all the other options. Like the ones that King Svein's head brought up. What if you just allied with him really strongly and the two of you marched as brothers into the future, right? Like what if you convinced him to your way of thinking and then you'd have two kings who are both really capable of thinking this way, both working in the same way? What if you even tried it? No. No, we must do it this way. Not because I want that power. No. My mind won't let me think like that. It's because this is the only option. It just happens to also enrich me deeply. He touches his own scar. I think there's something that we can read into that for real. Strongly. Here I am, King Canute, having achieved this stage in my goals, and it took me suffering to get there. So if we're going to get to any goal worthwhile, it's going to take suffering to get there. So I'm on the lookout for what suffering we should take, and then I'm not going to hesitate. And there's great power to this sort of an idea. But it also means that when I come across an an option that fulfills what I need and has more suffering than I'd like, I don't keep looking for another idea. I lock in on that one and we're done. I don't care about the more suffering because I've trained myself to believe that that part's inevitable. Even if I could spend 5 minutes more thinking about it and come up with a better idea that saves more lives, that creates less suffering, that leads more overall to a peace, I won't do it because I know that suffering is necessary, and so suffering is indeed even good. It's a part of the prerequisite to progress is to suffer. So when I find an option for the future that has a good bit of suffering to it, not mine, of course, but somebody's going to suffer for the overall good, I'm going to pursue that, and I'm the one who makes the choice what suffering is justifiable for the good. Why? Because I know better. Because I've suffered before and gained before, and so I know everything about this. It's this really powerful arrogance growing in Canute. And he keeps doing it, right? And as he keeps doing it, it affirms more and more that this is the process, that this is the pattern, that this is the way of doing things, that this is what it means to be a strong king who wields his sword, who's willing to cut down his enemies in order to create a path to what he wants. And that's what our boy, our beautiful young Canute, is becoming. He's becoming what he needs to be in order to be king. But he's becoming something else too. He's becoming cruel. Fascinating. I think that's all I have here to talk about in this episode of Vinland Saga. And so I say to you, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. I certainly did. I thought it was cool as hell. I think that we've got Leif back in the story. We've got moves really being made that are going to absolutely upset and shake the entirety of Kettle's farm in this place that's been kind of almost safe for us for years now. When things shake and our characters, like kernels of popcorn, pop on out of this frying pan that they're in, where will they land? And what will our next chunk of Vinland Saga be? I have no idea, but I'm really excited to find out, and we will begin moving in that direction next week. Thanks so much for watching me watch this episode of Vinland Saga. I hope you enjoyed it anywhere near as much as I did, and I hope to catch you next week for more. There will be early access to the next week's episode down linked in the description with the Patreon, where the Patreon is, and you throw me $1 and you get early access to all of my videos, and that's the way that works, and I hope to see you there. Much love. Peace.